Alright, make sure mic's on. Bro, this is the worst. You record 30 minutes?
Yeah.
That happened the other day when you were walking up.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that you caught me because my mic was off.
No way.
For the whole
Is the mic on? Did you take
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Alright, here we go, man.
Good.
Should we feel a little bit closer? I think we should feel a little bit closer.
Closer.
Yeah.
A little more personal.
Yeah. I think this is good.
It's nice and intimate. Hold on. No,
we're
we're
gonna
ready.
make it. This shows how unprepared and thrown
This is
together.
what it looks like. You see behind the camera, you see the tripod. Like, kind of even. That's great.
Alright, here we go. Well, everybody, this is very unexpected and thrown together, but whenever I get an idea, we just run with it. I told someone recently that I don't have dreams, I have plans, and this is one of them that I did not think was gonna happen this fast. But due to all kinds of stuff this week, I didn't get to film a lot. So I said, you know what, let's kick off the podcast that I've been wanting to do for a while, and Phil's getting ready to go home. So it was a perfect time to interview someone that I'm really close to. But yeah, so guys, welcome to the Hitchhike Hello podcast. It's a place.
Hello.
Yeah.
So the intro song kicks in. Hitchhike Hello.
We gotta hit up Lance Pro man again to make us a sick rap for it. But yeah, the Hitchhike Hello podcast, where we find people on a journey. We discuss their plans, their dreams, their purpose. If you're watching this, if you're listening, you just happen to be hitchhiking the road that we're driving on, and we're gonna pick you up, and we hope to bring you to a place that you wanted to go. If not, we apologize. But yeah, I don't think that we know where this thing is gonna go. I don't think that we know the route that we're gonna take with it. But I have a passion for people. I love having good conversation, and I like talking to people that believe different than me, that come from a different walk of life than me. And I think this is the perfect way to capture some of the things.
I agree. And even if someone doesn't get like a substantial something, it helps like just bring more questions up in your life.
Yeah.
I think that's like the most valuable thing about conversations. Sometimes it's like not even necessarily what you like sometimes you walk away with like a revelation or like something that's like that was dope.
Yeah.
But most of the time, if you're really looking, like it can at least raise one question in you or like raise a question about someone else. Like there's a question to be raised somewhere. Yeah. So it's like in this, there's probably gonna be some joke that we said that makes no sense, but someone would be like, why did that make no sense?
Yeah. No, I get it, man, because I think too what it will help with is I think that a lot of Christians are like mega closed-minded. Yeah. And I'm not like open-minded to where I'm like, I'm gonna follow a different religion or I'm gonna like explore things that are against Christianity. But I can take someone that comes from a different walk of life or a different religion and try to find like, okay, that's how you got there.
100%.
And then we can still have like a cordial conversation and talk about like, this is, I can respect how you got there. I'm not discarding that because what's truth to me, you might not have found that truth yet. Or what? And I hate to say like, I don't think that I have it all figured out, but I do want, like, I can listen to someone who comes from a different walk of life. Yeah. And respect how they got there. Yeah. So I think that this might help shed some light to some people who are very closed off to Christianity. They say they're so closed-minded they don't want to hear anything from anyone that comes from a different walk of life or who believes different. Maybe this will help that.
I agree.
A little bit.
I remember when I first really like sold out to Christ in my life, and how I didn't have those like I almost cut off everybody that I was like, you know, I would party with and all that stuff, right? Like I would cut all those people off immediately. And mostly it was because like I just didn't know how to have those conversations. Like I really just didn't know. And so because I'd never figured out how to have that conversation in a way that was like at every single moment having to tell them like, hey, you need to like get this figured out right now.
Going to hell.
Yeah, like
that's really how it is.
Honestly, because that's like immediately that was the feeling of like, because there's the conviction that you feel for your life of like, man, I'm on this path. I know I'm far from Christ. I surrender to him. I receive him in my life. And now I'm like, all these people, there's like the wisdom in like, okay, you need to change your circle because your circle influences you. And then there's that journey of figuring out like, yeah, but you have to like, that's the people. Like, that's what the journey is for.
Literally who Christ
with. Like literally that is the people that he's intending for you to impact with your testimony. The people that like know already, like there's awesome benefits and there's awesome like really cool dynamics of embracing that community around you and knowing that you have that, but like finding out how to reach those people and talk to those people and love those people is kind of like why we're here. I mean, it's really like it's integral to like what Jesus intended for us to live out. So, but I remember that point. I remember when I was the person that like, and it wasn't even that I looked at them in a way that was like you're less than. It was like I had so much fear, and it was so much. It was easier for me to be comfortable in saying like I don't even know how to talk to you, and where you're at, so I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
And then I remember the first time that I linked up with a friend that I used to like party with hard, and we got coffee, and I just like, my mentality wasn't like I want to change your life. My mentality was like, I care about you, what's going on in your life. Yeah. And by the end of that going the intent into, by the end of it, I shared my testimony. We were both in tears, and I was able to pray for him. Yeah. But the intent was like, I just want to know what's happening in your life. I care about you. Yeah. And then that's like the kind of letting the compassion of Christ lead to that moment was like, after that I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I thought he would look at me and be like, bro, you're crazy, like, because this dude, like, we did dumb stuff, and being able to have that conversation was like, yo, it's actually like one of the most fulfilling moments that I've had since like giving my life to Christ. So it was really cool.
Yeah, I think having that mentality to connect with people where they're at is something that Christ heavily emphasized. I mean, we see it with so many stories in the Bible of where Christ literally goes to where the sinners are at to connect with them. Yeah. Not that he compromises Christianity to do so.
Right. 100%.
But he's like, you don't have to get perfect to come to me. Yeah. Like, you can come to me as you are, and then we're going to walk this journey together and get you where you need to be. And I seen a post on Facebook one time, and it was like, you've tried inviting them to church. Have you ever tried inviting them to dinner or to coffee or to a movie? Yeah. Like, it is, I cannot stress, like, my ministry is building relationships.
100%.
Like, I'm sure people that have watched the vlogs, you've seen where one of my favorite things to do is go sit in the guard shack with the guys and just talk. Like, we get a soda. It costs me 30 cents to buy each one of us a soda. We sit there, and I don't even like drinking sodas, but it's just something to lighten the mood, to sit there and talk. And man, we have had some of the most amazing conversations backpacking. Yeah. My favorite hobby, because you get out in the woods, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're living like a homeless person, you don't have any cell service, and you're sitting there with a group of friends that possibly, like, we've had situations, I've been sitting there with a group of friends that I have been friends with for years.
You think you know them, and there's like,
dude,
no,
yeah,
like I know you.
The conversations we have, we're not in church. We're like, our conversations aren't like spiritual oriented. We're just sitting there, and then someone just be like, man, I'm battling this, or like, I really feel like God is calling me to do this, or like, I'm not satisfied with where I'm at. And it's the beautiful thing of us going on a journey together, and then it's like we start like this like spiritual journey when we're there. Yeah. And man, just the conversations that you can have with people whenever you put them in a situation where we're just sitting here, we're just talking as friends. Yeah. It's a very no pressure situation. Man, I think the church misses out on that so much.
I agree. I think like it's the beauty of it is, we talk about this sometimes, like our brains and our society, like it's so driven to be like, it has to be polar, it has to be either or, it has to be like, even someone thinking like in this conversation, right, hearing like us talk about this, they'll be like, oh, they're undervaluing the value of the church. It's like, no, it's not either or. It's not you either put value in the moments that you are outside or the moments that, like, it's both. You need both. Like, you need both to be striving. And if one is lacking, it's like you're making the gospel be a fragile thing, and it's not. Yeah. Like, it's not so fragile that you can't take it out. Like, exactly. It's not so fragile that you can't take a walk with it. Like, absolutely. It's not a fragile thing at all. And when you frame it in your brain that it is, it's like it needs to fit on a Wednesday night and on a Sunday. It's like, bro, like, you got to let it breathe. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of incredible things that happen, like, outside
of
our
box, our church-shaped box.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti-church. I love church. Yeah, like, one of my favorite things to do is go to church. Like, I love church.
We literally went to a service the other day, and it was like a Western service for the first time, and I was like, I haven't experienced this in so long. Yeah. And I was talking to somebody, and I was like, yeah, we saw lights on stage for the first time in a minute. You know,
Yeah.
like this is refreshing. Like,
Yeah, man. It's
so I agree.
like that's what I mean. I do church like
Yeah.
100%, and like that might shock some people because I have like my appearance, but like I come from a church where you wouldn't think it. Walking in the doors, it looks very traditional.
Yeah.
But then you show up on the right Sunday, and I'm up on stage with my tattoos, long hair, and piercings, preaching, and like people can accept you for who you are, but it's because they can accept me for who I am because we've done life together.
Yeah.
They know the kind of life that I live.
Yeah.
They know the kind of person that I am, and yes, there's compromise in areas that there shouldn't be. There's sin in areas that people can see very in front of their face sometimes, but they've walked with me to know, okay, even if he falls, like he's still serious about his relationship with Christ, and we can accept that. And I think through building those relationships, that's what makes people want to come to church, like even more. Like, of course, they want to be there for worship and for the preaching and to get fed, but also having that community of believers to be like, sometimes I need to go to church and have a conversation with like my church people.
Yeah.
Like, I just need a conversation.
Like you walk up, you park in the parking lot, and you're like, I need. It's the intangibles, right? Like it's the things that like you can't really. It's the Spirit moving, but like that's how it's there. Is that it's the descriptive when somebody walks in the church and goes, I don't know why, but they just feel so like home.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like I've known them for years.
Yeah, like the stuff that you can't describe, like that is literally what it's intended. Like that's the community. That is the like the community in action, and both of those happen, right? The corporate gathering and like the we're walking this out. Yeah. You see me like ugly cry a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot.
Like, yeah,
and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
we can cry together. All right, so we've talked about church, but let's jump into this, man. Let's talk about like if you're tuning in and this is the first video you've ever watched on this channel. I'm actually a missionary in Africa. Phil has been out here for 3 months. He's getting ready to go back home, and let's just for just a few brief seconds, let's talk about what brought you here.
Yeah,
we don't have to dive all the way in, but let's get like some good stuff going.
So I would say the biggest thing was so I was on staff at my church, Palmetto Point.
Yeah, I was about to say, shout out the church.
Yeah, PPC, incredible church, best church in the world.
Myrtle Beach, South
shameless
Carolina.
Plug.
I don't go there, but I love the church.
It's an awesome place. So I on staff at the church, and me and my pastor were just having authentic conversation about, like really raw conversation about some changes in ministry, some things happening, and the topic came up of like in what area would, you know, in the current place that I was at the youth pastor, it was like what area, if it wasn't that, what would it be? And like since I first gave my life to Christ, there was like a pull into the missions field, and I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know why. In my mind, it could have just been like, I need to go. Yeah. Like I just need to experience it because I know that that's like a different environment that is like necessity to what we do.
So like before that, you've never done any form of
didn't do anything. Yeah, like people in my family have, and so I've like heard about what it was like, and we have like a missions presence in our church. So like I would experience it third hand, like seeing people come back and have those conversations. But like personally, no, never. Like didn't even go on like a weekend trip, like nothing. So it was like that's a pull. And so a big part of that was like, okay, what does that look like? Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, that's a pretty big like target to just say this space, like missions. And just like, okay, so we're just gonna toss the dart on the map and say, so
done
really,
that before. I've actually like closed my eyes, turned around the ping pong ball, the ping pong paddle, hit the ball at the board. It was like wherever the ball. It was South Africa, bro.
Really?
Yeah. So like we're in Kenya, but we feel like eventually we'll end up in South Africa. But yeah, dude, it hit like me and Anna had that conversation. Yeah. And so like I closed my eyes, I threw the ping pong ball, and I was just like, bang, and everybody was like, oh, South Africa.
Dang.
I was like,
okay.
We're going there.
That works then.
Yeah.
That's a good way to make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
I like
it. Was a
it.
crazy moment.
Yeah,
that was my fleece, bro.
Yeah, I love that. So that didn't happen with us. It was more of like we have like these connections, and it was like a couple places all over the world. None of them, they all fell through. And then we reached out to you guys, and like.
So we actually didn't even, 3 months ago we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
We knew who each other were social media.
We'd never had a conversation.
Yeah,
like all. It was a hi bye, like a dap you up.
Yeah, like, that was we know really who each other are, but that's the complete extent. Yeah, I don't even know if we were friends on social media completely.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I followed him. He didn't follow me.
That's such a lie. So we literally just linked up. Like, I know Pastor reached out to you, and then like as soon as the conversation started, it was like it just kept rolling.
Quick,
and like all of it happened really quick. Things just started like falling into place, because it was like from the time the conversation started, it was like we're aiming at like a month from now.
Yeah,
like it was like, and I didn't have my passport. I didn't have any shots. I didn't have anything. Like,
that was wild.
Yeah, so it was literally
even
like
on our end. I was like, we've done some crazy stuff. Like we came to Africa on a month's notice.
Yeah,
but we came for 2 weeks.
Right.
And so Pastor Jamie reached out. He's like, hey, what happens if I want to send someone out to you? I was like, are you sending me out someone who's interested in missions, or are you sending me out someone who you want to get rid of in your church? He was like, it's Phil. I was like, okay, sweet. He dresses cool, so I'm sure he's a cool guy. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's see. I don't know what that looks like. Let's see. And he was like, what about a month from now? I said, let's see really fast what that's going to look like.
And we literally, it happened. Like we had a meeting, a call, like the week later. And it was like, it was the director like at the camp, the compound here, and then like me, Pastor, and then Scott, and it just went. And so I guess that like the purpose of it was, this is something that God's been leading me to, and I knew like for this season especially was like I need to just listen to this. Like I know that He's leading me here, and it may not make sense because I was leaving the church, like I had to give up where I was staying, and I don't bring that stuff up as like a woe is me. It's more of like that was just reality of what was going through my mind. Was like I'm kind of like leaving any sense of stability. Like I'm not coming back to a job. I'm not coming back to a place to stay. Like I don't know what this looks like. But
so like just to like clarify on that, like when you came for we knew it was 3 months from the start, but you're like, by taking this opportunity, I'm walking away from my job. I'm walking away from my house. I'm walking away from everything to go on a 3-month trip.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you sit back and think about it, like
I know,
that,
like, and that's what I couldn't do. Like that's what I knew I couldn't. Like I couldn't try to make sense of it because I just felt like God was like, I'm leading you here. Like, so if I'm leading you here, then that's gonna make sense. And even like right now to this day, where I have like a week until I'm leaving, it's still one of those things of like even talking to Scott. Like, so Scott's like our missions guy at PPC. He's incredible. Yeah, Scott is the man.
Can cook.
Big love to Scott. Yeah.
Lasagna.
So, and he's sick right now, so we're praying for you, Scott. Love you, man. Hope you feel better. But yeah, like even just talking to him in this time, it was one of those like the desire to put a plan in place and to like have things figured out when God is literally forming what He's doing in you presently is such a like. It can be like obviously there's a desire to be excellent, and there's a desire to like be forward thinking and to steward the life and the time that God's given you. So like make plans for sure.
Yeah.
But it was one of those like the tendency and the feeling of like I need to put a plan in place so that I know what this looks like. Very early on was like, this is gonna be, if I think like that, it's gonna be a disservice to what God is trying to do here. And I say that even now, knowing that like there are things that are kind of lining up for me when I get back, and it's His grace. But like ultimately, it is like God, if you lead me like to this, I want to commit to that and not have my own. I saw this thing literally 20 minutes ago. It was like, don't chase the dream more than you chase God.
That's good.
And so it was like, I can have a vision, a visualization of like, man, I have this dream for my life.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm chasing God.
Yeah.
And so like, if that dream kind of like takes a different shape or like, it has an asterisk when I put a plan in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
At the end of the day, like, God, if your voice says South Africa, like if I ping pong the map and it's South Africa, like I'm gonna listen to it. So
I have this saying that I say, like literally, so my buddy Travis Watley, he mailed me a book a while back, Dream Big by Bob Goff. changed my life. Like,
yeah, I still have it. It's locked in my thing.
Yeah,
it's
you
next
have
on
to
my
read
queue.
that. You have to
I'm
read
halfway
that.
through my book now.
I want to read it again, but it is so good. And so when he put up, we actually weren't like that close. It was the same thing. We knew who each other were, had a couple of conversations, and he put up a thing on his story, and he was like, "Just finished this book. It's amazing. Who wants it next?" And I didn't even want it. I was reading another book, and I messaged him. I was like, "Man, this is awesome." He was like, "What's your address? I'm mailing it to you."
That's
so,
sick.
yeah, it was so cool, man. And then he wrote, like, sorry, Travis, for not remembering this, but he wrote something in it, like at the top. It was just like the date that he finished, and then this quote. And man, I wish so bad I could remember what he said. But I remember, like, I did the same thing when I finished. I was like, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I wrote this quote, "You can't get lost when you're chasing Jesus."
Yeah.
And, like, that's literally how I, like, live my life. Like, if I come to a decision where I'm like, I have to go right or left, I genuinely, in the deepest part of my soul, feel like I'm supposed to go right. I find assurance in that because I'm like, God knows my thoughts, and He knows that I'm making this decision based on the fact that I think going right is what He wants me to do. So like, He's not gonna let me fail. Like, even if it's the wrong decision, He knows why I made this decision. And so like, that's how I live my life, man. Like, just chasing Jesus as hard as I can, and like, if I end up in the wrong spot, I end up with Jesus. So like, how can you go wrong when you genuinely chase after what you 100% feel is the will of God in your life?
I think it increases your gratitude for His sovereignty in doing that. And like, obviously there's everyone approaches that dynamic of listening to the voice of God differently. There's some people that they need to fast like a month before feeling the peace enough to be confident in what God is speaking.
Dude,
and if you do that,
that's
like,
not me.
Yeah, like,
It's not.
I know, but some people do.
Let's start a podcast tonight.
I know someone that literally had like, it was at our church, and it was like, they were having a meeting, and they were like, okay, before they came to a decision in the meeting, they were like, let's fast and pray for a week, and then like come back to the decision. And so it's like, if that's you, like, that's incredible. Like,
incredible.
Cool for you, but
that's not.
And it's just the reality of like, the way that we shape that relationship is unique, and it's supposed to be. Like, there's a lot of value in that, in being able to like understand that this is where I'm at, and like this is my approach to my relationship with God. It's not like I'm finding myself so I can like inch out of my relationship with God. It's like, no, I want to better understand how mine and God's dynamic works. And if that's like where you and God are, that's sick. Like, I love it, because in that, it's like you even having a peek into it in the past couple months, it's like, I see that your approach to that is like, it literally is the act of shaking fear off. Like, it's like, there's fear here that's trying to get in the way of like being bold in my faith. And by knowing that this is how I'm walking it out, like, I shake it off. And so like, I love that. It works, and it's like, it's dope to, because there's fruits to it too, right?
For sure. It's
like,
not
that's the biggest thing is.
I think it comes across as people are like, oh, he just makes like spur of the moment decisions. Right. And it's like, yes, I do. I really do. I mean, I like, do. True. But but there's a big but there. And it's like, before I made that decision, I truly, if it was 5 minutes, being a missionary, like, you have to act fast. Like, there's a moments pass so quickly that like, you could literally miss out on someone's eternity. 100%. Not that it's my job to save them. I'm not saying that, because I know there's gonna be some keyboard warriors on here picking apart everything that I say theologically wrong. It's not that, but I don't want to miss my opportunity to reach them. And if God puts it there, so like, there's sometimes whenever you're like, I'm not going to talk to that person, but I really need to, and God's probably telling me that I should. Okay, if I mess up, then whatever. And you just go for it. And I think my mentality on life and ministry and like the direction that we're going, it's like, if I don't want to waste any time, and if I genuinely in my heart, even if for a split second, think this is what Jesus wants me to do right now, I'm going to do it. Like, no questions asked, I'm going to do that, even if it makes no sense. Like moving my 6-month-old and my wife to Kenya, to right next to the second biggest slum in all of Africa. Like, that's what I think God wants us to do right now. So we love you guys, so we're leaving, like, we're going. And I mean, and it's been awesome. Like, it's been, like, where God has brought me in such a short amount of time, man, is like literally incredible.
It's insane. And that's the biggest thing, is when the fruits speak for itself, it's like, honestly, there's no, even whatever opinion that is thrown, it's like, you can't help but to just sit back and almost hold your tongue and be like, it speaks for itself. Like what God is doing speaks for itself, and I don't have to lean up and like react almost, because it's like it's speaking for itself. Like what God is doing through you guys is speaking for itself. So it's like it's very evident. And I think like the approach of like this person in front of me right now, like in those moments, it's like whoever says whatever, it's like there's an intersection point that happens right there of like, God, align my path to meet with this person's path. And right now, like, I need to be present for that.
Yeah, I have to be right there in that moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Moments, like, they pass so quick.
Yeah.
Like, they pass so quick. And, like, the decisions that you make in those moments define not only where you're going to end up, but, like, other people.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm sure that there's been, like, moments between me and you whenever, like, we have one of those just incredible conversations, and then, like, we'd leave, and we're like, man, I should have said this.
Yeah,
like, and you miss that moment.
Yeah.
And not that it, like, your life is going to be less fulfilling because I didn't say this one little awesome one-liner that hit me after I walked away. But like that could have changed something in your life. And so I think I try to be extremely aware of those.
Yeah.
Because for so long, and even now, something that I like my weakness, I'm such a planner and like ready for the next thing and like getting ready for the next thing, that I miss like where I'm at right now. Like even right now, I'm like, man, is that cake in the room yet? Like I'm ready for
It is, because the lady walked up 5 minutes ago, and I saw her out of the corner of my eye, and she was about to mention cake.
Yeah, like, I mean,
I literally thought to myself, like, that might be worth stopping.
Just like, just cut and we pop back.
Because Anna told me earlier, she's like, I'm gonna eat all the cake if you guys are gone.
She will too.
It took an hour and a half to get this cake. We got the cake, man. We had to get the cake.
All right, so we're saying how you got here, just all that.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed in you since making the decision to walk away from your job, walk away from your home, and come to Africa for 3 months?
This is also another thing. I could give like the really, you expect the stuff, right? Like, it's been humbling to see the conditions and to meet the people that are full of joy, like all of those.
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's gonna hit me so different when I'm not here. Like,
yeah.
That's gonna be when it really is like, wow, I've changed. Because being in the environment, it's like I'm walking still, you know what I mean? Like I'm still here.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a great pulse on like what's changed.
Because you're so close to everything that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I think when I get back and I'm talking to people and I'm reflecting on experiences, and when like that environment goes back to where I was pre, I think that's gonna be like a big moment of like, wow, things have really changed for me.
Yeah.
And like this is how, but even right now, like there are layers of that. There are layers of like reflecting on moments, and you're kind of like just interacting with the kids, and you're like, man, I've never had a group of people where I meet them and immediately it's like this
Let's talk about life.
family sensational. Yeah, it's like weird, like it hits you and it immediately impacts you, right? So like even if you're here for a week, that stuff is immediate. It within the first day I was like having to process the love bash in the face, you know? So that's gonna hit you regardless. But I think like the deep kind of like, man, this really changed in me, I think I'll really have like a better answer for that.
Yeah.
Literally in a week, like once I get back and I kind of feel out what life looks like.
Just fair warning, man, going from a situation like this, like even short-term missions, man, I would come back and I would be so frustrated with people in the States.
Yeah.
Like, see a little kid in the store like screaming at their mom, and I'm like, you don't know how good you got it, kid.
Yeah.
And then you go to like church and people are like, man, it's so hot and the preacher's sermon wasn't that good. And I'm like, man, I'd seen people walk 5 miles to go sit in church underneath a tree.
Yeah.
And like, you're not thankful. Like, I've seen people like, dude, to see the kids have church the way that they do, to literally like pour out their heart to God with a keyboard that is this big, speakers that don't half work, a drum that's busted I don't know how many times.
Distractions through the wazoo, like
even
that to me, yeah. Like if I think about like being in youth, right? You're like praying the whole time, like, please don't let there be a distraction, because you know that distraction like sucks the spirit out of the room almost. Like everyone is like boom, and it's like here it's like there's constant something happening, and it's kind of like everyone's just still there. Like you still have people like that are there in the moment. So yeah, stuff like that. Like and I think that was an early. I am grateful for the conversations that I was able to have because I knew that coming into it. And I don't know it as in like I know what it feels like. I knew that was a thing. Yeah. And so like I was very prayerful before I even came to figure out to guard my heart and to prepare me and the best way that he wants me to be prepared. If it's his will for me to experience that frustration, then let it be. But I want to be able to like not feel the depth that I've heard some people feel of just like almost hatred and anger towards people when they come back. And I think a part of that has been like trying to keep up with people to some capacity. Because I felt it. I felt it in the first week when when like something crazy happened. Like you remember like that. Yeah. So like that. And I like called somebody home the next day, and they were telling me like some drama, dude. And immediately it was like I felt the feeling, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like this is the feeling of like,
what do you know about this?
Yeah, like almost like a, and they asked me like, like are you upset or whatever? And I was like, I just don't know what to say. Yeah. And that was like the feeling. The feeling was like I'm not really sure how to comfort you in this scenario
after what I just
saw. Yeah, it's like
I think too it goes back to what we were talking about, like people being on a different journey. Like no matter how you felt about it in that moment, to them it was truth that they were experiencing pain.
And that's the like that to me is one of the most beautiful things about the heart of Jesus.
Yes.
Is like I don't care who you are in the room, it like in his presence, he is looking at your issues, saying, I care about them. Yeah. And it can be someone that just lost someone, and it can be someone that's like a little hurt because someone didn't say hi to them. Yeah. Like he cares about you to say like, I know your pain. Yeah. And that's kind of like the crazy like, bro, you can't describe that. Like you have to experience that for yourself. Like to feel that feeling of like, God, I know this is the stupidest thing ever. Yeah. Because I remember that. I remember like, even you look at how people sometimes treat like teenagers when they're like heartbroken. Yeah. And they kind of look at them like, oh, get over it. You're going to find someone different. It's like, bruh, that kid is 15 years old, has lived 15 years of life. And that moment, this is the worst thing in the world. Yes. It's just real to them. Like that is the worst thing that they've ever gone through. Yeah. That's reality. Like that's truth. You can't deny that for them. Like that's their
truth.
That's their reality.
I remember when I was a kid, I was playing on our church softball team, and it was like my second year playing with our church softball team, and we were horrible, like so bad. And I was playing on another team that was traveling around on weekends playing, and we were like my weekend team was phenomenal. I was young, I was like 14. And we got like just waxed with our church softball team, and like it was all me and my friends were on the team. And I remember like I came in the dugout, I like slung my glove. I was like, y'all suck. I was like looking at everybody like, you're terrible, you're trash. Why don't you even play? Like y'all are so bad. I was like, I can't understand how someone could be so bad at the game. Like I was just devastated. Yeah. And I remember I got in the car and I had like a total brat. I got in the car and my dad like looked in the back seat. He was like, Bryson, this is a slow pitch softball game. He's like, it's not that big a deal. And I remember like just being so angry. I was like, Dad, I'm 14. This is a big deal to me. I remember saying that. And like, yes, like he was right. Like now look at me, I'm laughing. I was so devastated. But now like it is hilarious to look back at like the junk that I was saying, like how serious I took it. Yeah. But it's like my dad was right. But in my mind, like right then, I was like, we got embarrassed so bad in front of all of our fans who are like 3 ladies from our church.
3 moms.
Yeah, but I was like, in front of all of our fans, like we just got blistered, and I was so competitive, and I was devastated, man. Yeah. So like to me in that moment, like 100%, like that was what my life revolved around, was playing church weekend slow pitch softball. Like I loved it. Yeah. But like so like to me it was truth, but to my dad he's like, it's not that big a deal. Like no one cares.
Which to some extent is like that perspective matters too, right? Because it's like it helps bring. That's like a growing moment, or it's like being able to kind of zoom out. Yeah. But it's like the truth is, bro, your heart was shattered. Like,
it was so devastating. But yeah, I've always felt the same, you know, about like young kids. I remember arguing with someone. They're like, "You're not in love," and I was like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "You're not in love. Like you're a kid. How would you even know what love is?" And I'm like, I know that the way that I feel about this person is the deepest I've ever felt about anyone. So my truth is this is love. Yeah. And they didn't get it. Like they're just a jerk. And what's funny is they were like 5 years older than me. And I'm
like you don't know either, bro.
Yeah, whatever. And it's just goofy, man. I think that a lot of times people just, because they're in a different place in life, they fail to look back and remember where they came from, and like they can't respect the fact that like, okay, I'm not where you're at yet.
Yeah, it's a chapter 20 looking at a chapter 5. My sister says this all the time. It's like if you're at chapter 5 and you're looking at someone's chapter 20, you're gonna feel incomplete. Yeah, because you're looking at somebody that's at a different place in their life, like they're going through something different. But it doesn't take away from the chapter 5. It's just those pages haven't been written yet. Exactly. Like you can't devalue it because it's at a different spot.
Exactly. So since you have been here and you found, I think it's safe to say that you entered into a new realm of truth for yourself, and like what devastation looks like, what pain and suffering, what poverty looks like, or like not having as much as some other people. How has that changed from 3 months ago whenever you walked away from everything? You got on a plane, you came to Kenya. What do your plans look like now compared to what they looked like before that moment?
I think immediately it was like, as days happened, and as I saw that space of how much someone will do, like think of in the U.S. how much somebody will do for money. Yeah. And then here it's like how much someone will do for the opportunity to make money. And it's different thinking, bro. And I think like that was something that was so like you are like, God, I'm blessed that I have like the liberty to do that. Like I'm blessed that I like can have an idea, and there's not a whole society that's fighting against me making this idea happen. Yeah. And there's not like systems that are literally like, there's just such a scarcity in that here of like, cool, everyone has an idea. Yeah. And that's truth in America, but like the reality is like you have a way better opportunity. Just it's night and day.
Well, this podcast is a prime example. We literally were talking today, was supposed to film someone else in the interview, which I'm glad that it turned out like this. But I was like, let's start a podcast. Let's come up with a name. Right. Let's throw my camera down, shoot the video. Yeah. Here they're like, I need to raise money for a camera. That could take me 3 years.
It takes them just that. Like, just the simplicity of even like, how would I make a YouTube channel? Like, I would have to pay for the service to be able to post anything even. And I can't afford that.
I don't have a computer.
I don't have a computer to edit. Yeah. I don't have any of, so it's like, and all of those things, each one of those little markers that we say like, yeah, if you work a part-time, you should be able to like put some money aside and just do the side hustle. Like you should be able to make, it's a hobby, like you can afford it, right?
When are they going to get the time to film a video?
They don't have time to film a video. They don't have the money that they make every day is like to provide life, like it's,
for their family back home, not even them.
Yeah,
like, the men are like struggling.
So all of that to me put a new perspective on looking at the dreams and the things that God has put in my life, and handling it with like a, not so much a like, this will eventually come to pass, or like this will make some waves in my life at some point. So I think that's like the biggest shift in that, like in the perspective of caring for opportunities, caring for like the doors that God opens in just where you were born. Yeah.
That's what people miss, dude. That's probably my biggest hang up, is so many people in the States are so opinionated on certain subjects. I'm not going to go into all of them. Yeah. But they will be so opinionated on certain subjects and like down to human rights and stuff. And I'm like, before you make that call and before you take that stance, remember that the only thing separating you and them is the fact that you were born on this side of the border.
Yeah.
Like, people forget that.
Yes.
Like, what if
that's
you
so
were
true.
over there going through that, and you're trying to do something to help your family. You're trying to get your daughters away from being raped or kidnapped or married off to some grown man. You're trying to get them away from that, and there's someone saying, "No, you should do this, this, and this," because you're sitting in your recliner on your laptop, like watching your 100th YouTube video of the day.
100%.
Like, man, that bothers me so much. But that was a huge reality check for me to come here and be like, the opportunity. Like, I felt I had guilt for a long time. I was like, why am I so blessed to be able to come here and help these people? Whenever, like you said, they're so much more driven than me to make a better life for themselves. Yeah. And but I'm the one here helping them. Yeah. Like, what? How?
That's literally it.
Man.
You come here and like you're expecting to find such a lacking, and physically you do, and that's like a big part of it, right? But it's like you learn so much from them about being driven, about being grateful, about finding joy, like about the things that really matter. Yeah. Like the grit of this still has to go. Like, we still push through.
We just do it. The way that they make tools out of just random stuff. Yeah. And I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, I met this old man the other day, and he was herding sheep. Man makes $70 a month. $70 a month. Takes care of his family with that money. And I was like, but he doesn't even realize, I don't have the newest iPhone. He doesn't care. Yeah. Like, he doesn't realize that he doesn't. Yeah, it's not even a thought. It's not that he doesn't know that phones aren't out there. But just the life that he has grew up, and their mindset is so far from I need the newest, biggest flat screen. I need a new car. Man, it's probably 75 years old at the least. Never owned a car, and it's just like, why do I have food on the table for my family every night? What else do I need? Yeah, that mentality is so far from me. I can't even comprehend it. Yeah, I'm like, I need a new camera. I need a new lens. I need a new laptop. I need the newest program. And he's just like, man, I put food on the table for my family, so that's life.
And you learn so much from just sitting with them. Yes. Like, it's not even like you can hear that and be like, oh yeah, but it's like when you put a face to that perspective,
and you see the truth,
and you see that you literally see that that they're living that. Like, it's not. At the end of the day, like, whoever's watching this, you're gonna close this video. You're gonna it's gonna turn off, and life is gonna keep going. Yeah. Like, that's what's gonna happen. But that reality, just imagining it for a second, for us, is like a whole lifespan for someone else. What it takes for us to just be like, imagine what it would be like to herd sheep from day to night for years.
7 days a week.
Endlessly. There's no endlessly for a whole lifetime. For us, that's like a crazy thought to dive into. Yeah. But we can turn off that thought. Yeah. For them, it's like you're sitting there, and it's like, after this conversation, you go back to that. Yeah. It doesn't. And you can look at this person all you want and say, I pray that, and sure, if God opens a door and things change in their life, but reality is for those people, that is the greatest blessing that they could have. Yeah, they're able to provide for their family. Yeah, that they're able to work in what God's put in them, and that they're still someone that's I'm 70 and I'm still able to do this. Yeah. God is good.
I'm still putting food on the table.
Dude. I'm still providing. God is good.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Even the slum, there's been some people that I've heard got made it big. Made millions of dollars. Yeah. Not they made millions of dollars. Just somehow made something, got out. There's several stories that Joseph was telling me. And they go and they move back to the slum. Yeah. And we can't comprehend. How would you do that? Yeah. Why would you do that? But that's their culture. That's what they grew up in. That's their truth. Yeah. The slum will always be home. It's like country singers. They'll go and make millions of dollars and they go back to the farm. Yeah. Because that's their truth, that's their happiness, that's their home. And we have become so opinionated that we can't even accept that. We're like, no, you can't have church without lights and good music. We need to bring attention.
Yeah, it's like you're missing something. Yeah. It's like you come here and it's like you look at these different things and you're like, you're missing this and this. It would change your life. And it's because we're looking at what's impacted us.
Yeah.
And kind of projecting it instead of like trying to listen to God's heart within someone.
Yeah, let's dive into that for like half a second.
Yeah.
When you said it, like you hit it, it's like whenever you go through like a crazy experience in your life, and like you hear a song that just like is perfect for that moment. Or there's like a breakup, and you hear like
I got it right now.
like Nelly come on.
I'm about to cry right now.
Yeah, like you just like thinking about her, thinking about and like you ride around it.
Let her go.
Yeah, but like that, like when you hear that song, you feel like what you like for just a brief.
Yes.
Now you bring that song and you show it to me, and I'm just like,
it's all right.
Like okay,
yeah,
that so because like what you said, how it impacted you,
right?
And so like to go for teens in the States to go to like this huge conference where there's like lights and a killer band, and like they reached us where we were at. We failed to be like, okay, instead of reaching you where you're at, I'm gonna try to reach you where I was.
Where at. I was, yeah, bro. And people get so caught in that.
Yeah.
And that is the marker of relevance, right? And it's not relevance in the trendy relevance. I heard like this definition for relevance. Relevance isn't so much it isn't about how much you speak. It's about how much people listen when you speak. And so it's like you can think to yourself, like the whole time, like we're pumping this out, and we're like, but you're not thinking of what's receiving.
Yeah.
You're thinking of what you're putting out. And when you switch that, when you're like, the aim of this is for it to be like where you are.
Yeah.
I don't care if it impacts me. Like I want to be a vessel, but at the end of the day, like I'm trying to have conversations where you are.
Yes.
Not just for you to hear my experiences and for you to be like, oh wow, God's really done a work in this guy.
Yeah.
It's like no. I want to listen so that I know like what is God trying to do in you.
Yes.
And that's like the biggest thing, right? And that's the difference between preaching to people and like preaching and having conversations with people and letting God flow through. You know,
absolutely.
Like it's a different world to think like I'm not just trying to express here. Like I'm trying to look at what God's doing.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's just some people. No dingoes.
Hey, whenever you hear animals in Kenya, it's a different ball game.
There's some rustling. Like, lion.
Yes.
Toss the bench over.
Is it a squirrel? No, it's an elephant.
It's a jaguar. Yeah, it's an elephant. We learn about elephants though. We learn that you go on slopes because they can't go downhill, and you go against the wind.
Yeah.
Or with the wind.
He said against the wind, but yeah, he meant you run like so that the wind's blowing your back because they can't smell you.
Yeah.
But so we've talked about that, and we're already at like 40 minutes. So let's wrap this up. I don't want it to be a 4 hour long. I want to be able to listen to it too and from
100%.
Let's talk about your dreams, man. Like since you came here, we've talked so much about it, but like just to dive into not just like what would be cool, but like what are genuine like your dreams that are going to be your plans, like the journey that God has you on right now. What does that look like?
Yeah, very much a like. If I'm being really honest, everyday journaling, everyday praying right now about this very thing.
Journal is where it's at.
Yeah,
I cannot stress that.
It is a present. Yeah. It is a present thing in my life that I'm like, God, I know that you've put these things in me, and I don't want to take that for granted.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like core things, right? Like
disciplines, I guess.
Yeah, there's kind of like core. Disciplines, kind of like core principles, kind of core things that I've learned about the dreams that God's put in me. Like even talking about calling, right? Like some people have like you knew that missions was your thing from an early age. Like you knew that was definite. For me, it was never like, and it still hasn't been like a definite like this is the direction. There's been stuff like, okay, God, I know that you've called me. Okay, God, I know that like you're leading me to reach this generation. I know that you've put this gift inside of me. I know that and it's right now I'm kind of in that like, these are the I knows. I may not have the like, I know that this is the direction, but you're revealing the things that I do have, that I can have an assurance of that you've put in me, that you've done in me. So I would say like that kind of mapping out goal setting, planning, all of that. It's really like it's taken a back seat for a little bit, so that when I get back, I can have the like, God, I know this, and this is the direction that I'm gonna aim at, and I'm gonna give it my all once I aim there. Because I did aim when I was younger, like I did aim and kind of go like, I wanna do this, and then I wanna do this, and I wanna do this, and I did them. Like I tried certain things, and I failed in certain things, and I think that's a good lesson too. Is like, 100%. Bro, pursue it, and if you fail, like don't be scared of failure. And I think that's another thing that I learned here is like, that's a continual lesson that I'm embracing, is like, don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to take a step in something. But all of that long answer being short, like I definitely am aiming at having a connection with missions. Like that is something that, because from early on we talked like, is missions gonna be your thing long term? And right now it's like I don't see a place or an urgency of like be a full-time missionary. But I definitely see missions being a part of my life, and whether that's supporting missions, like supporting missionaries hands-on, like we've talked about doing, like hands-on, literally with them, kind of helping their mission, or doing like a 3-month mission, like twice throughout the year. What it looks like exactly, I don't know, but I know that missions is going to be in some capacity part of it. There is an undeniable kind of like God has formed me to care about the creative side of ministry and of life.
The videography,
photography, yeah, like that whole space is in me, and it's always been in me. So that is going to be a part of it.
PS Studios.
And a lot of that is like infancy, you know. It's like I have things that I don't even think I've shared with a soul, because it's just in my journal, and things that I'm like really praying about God setting things up in me, so that I'm not trying to make something happen that's not His will. So that would be and then we talked about this, but like years from now we'll rewind to this, and then it'll be dope.
Sorry, I got interrupted. Checking on what time breakfast was. But pursuing PS Studios, graphic design, website, all that, the creative side of ministry, and not even just ministry, but the secular world, and using that as your end for your testimony and Christianity. Do you think pursuing that, having your hands still in missions, helping missionaries, maybe going out and filming videos for them to help spread the awareness of their cause, would you find your purpose?
I mean, right now I can say, if that was what life looked like, right now, presently in this moment, it's like 100% I'd find a deep fulfillment in that. But yeah, like if that was it, if it was that life, 100%, that sounds incredible. Yeah, that sounds dope.
That's it.
I love it.
All right, guys, there you have it. We talked about plans, talked about dreams, and we talked about purpose. That is genuinely my heart, is to help people find their purpose in life, to just have awesome conversations, build incredible relationships. So if you are a fellow hitchhiker, you're on a journey, you're looking for a place to go, jump on board, just stick that thumb out, give us a thumbs up on this video. Tune back in. I'm going to try to do this. I'm not going to commit to how often these are going to come, but I really enjoyed this, so it will be often. But this is episode 1 of the Hitchhike Hello podcast. We love you guys so much, and we will see you on the next one.